Is this working? No?
We hear you. We hear you.
Is it working? You guys can hear me? Okay. Must be. We're gonna go down the river. We're gonna go under a number of fixed bridges. I shouldn't say fixed bridges. A number of lift bridges. Milwaukee has the second most lift bridges in the United States. Milwaukee has 21. Chicago has 35. So the lift bridges we will go under are some are lift bridges that are hydraulic, and others are bascule or drawbridge style bridges. So think about the year 1800. This river was narrow and not very deep. We'd be going through marshland here, lots of marshland. Before all of these buildings were built, and the river would be lined with reeds, cattails. There'd be indigenous people tending their crops of wild rice. And it wasn't a particularly hospitable place at that time. First bridge we're going to walk through is the Transit Avenue Conductor. The only hazard is that as we approach it, look off the fourth bow. You can see two copper cables, one with the flag up. Trying to figure out why it's at half-mast. Anybody tell me why it's at half-mast? Anyhow, that's Milwaukee City Hall. City Hall opened in 1895. It's Flemish Renaissance Revival architecture, kind of German influenced architecture. The architect was Henry Cook. He was a local guy who wanted to commission over 8 others nationally. And when it was completed in 1895, it was the world's smallest masonry built building. The world's tallest building made out of bricks. Remember I said this was all marshland. So in order to secure that building to the floor of the marsh, they used 2,600 white pine tree trunks. We did a number of looks at City Hall as we down back up the river. But right now we're going under the oldest bridge we're going to go under. This bridge opened up in 1924, so it's 100 years old this year. State Street Bridge. It's a drawbridge, bascule style bridge, and at the base of each of these leaves of the bridge are concrete counterweights that allow it to tip up more easily. I call it the teeter-totter theory of physics. Something goes heavier at one end of the teeter-totter, the other end goes up easier. That's what happens with these drawbridge style bridges. Okay, this first building that we see on the port side, the Associated Bank building, is postmodern architecture, opened up in 1988, and was meant to mimic and flatter City Hall. So if you look at the green skylights, and you look at the green copper gables of City Hall, look at the red brick of the Associated Bank building, red brick of City Hall, and then if you look at the base of the Associated Bank building, look down the street towards the base of City Hall, you'll see that they are similar. So that's to flatter in a good way City Hall. Going under the Hillhorn Avenue Bridge, look at these bridge houses. There are 4 of them. The architectural style. This bridge opened in 1929, so it's about 95 years old. And the bridge houses have stood the test of time. They never needed 4 bridge houses there. They only needed 1 back in the day. So those were added to the aesthetic reasons. Compare them to the newer bridge houses as you get down there. Note whether progress has been made or not. Going past some of these openings, you get a better view of the clock tower and City Hall. Off the port side here, there's a building, orange brick building, got round Italian windows with MKE repping windows. What is that? When that opened in 1900, that was the United States Station, the country's first pulverized coal power plant. Pulverized coal being the clean energy of its day, burning hotter and more efficiently than chunks of coal. Street Bridge off the port side of the Ron Spahn. Well, some of us remember the series Happy Days. Every week there was the Arthur Fonzarelli and that sitcom was based here in Milwaukee, which is why you have a Ron Spahn. Arthur Spahn. Off the port bow, we see a building at the base that says First National Bank Building. That opened up in 1914 and was probably Milwaukee's first modern skyscraper. Only 20 years after City Hall, but looking a lot more modern than the kind of castle-like City Hall was. The architect is the Burnham Group out of Chicago. Daniel Burnham was, and his group is famous for designing and building bank buildings like this across the country, from Albany, New York, all the way to San Francisco. This next taller building, the 100 East Wisconsin building, also postmodern, and that's reflecting what was there previously, which was the old Pabst building, which is a 14-story wheeled Gothic building, really castle-like as well. You still find it on some postcards of Milwaukee. The base of this building reflects the base of the old Pabst building, as does the ceiling at the top, the roof that we have a hard time seeing. Note how this bridge here, Wisconsin Avenue Bridge, is on an angle. Well, that's because it was Spring Street heading east through Hilltown, but Grand Avenue heading west through Kilburn Town. I talked more about Byron Kilburn, the native from Connecticut who came here in 1834. Off the port side, this green glass high-rise, probably first example of international architecture in Milwaukee. Lots of different glass. Interesting color of the glass. The architect of this building, Wallace Garrison, a little more famous for having been the lead architects for building in New York than the other called the United Nations. But the use of color in the glass, and the narrow footprint, a little bit of the MO of Wallace Garrison. Coming under the Michigan Bridge, look to the left, look to the port side, look down the street, you'll see one of Milwaukee's older buildings. The Mitchell building goes back to 1876. That's second Empire style architecture, dating back to the days of the Ferdinand Bonaparte in France. So German influence, French influence in that building. Then we have this lovely architecture. What's the story here? Well, in the 1960s, our mayor back then, Paul River, the dead artery of commerce. It was so polluted with industrial waste and even human waste that nobody wanted to be anywhere around it. He thought we should run it to a culvert here, put dirt over the top of it, and create some green space that way. Fortunately, that didn't happen. But the idea was, let's get folks conveniently off of the freeway. They can take the new skywalk to the new high-rise, work to 9 to 5, get back in the cars, and be home in Waukesha by the end, by 5:30 on the patio. The idea of downtown being much of a place to hang out and was faithful only a glimmer in that mayor's eyes back then. Went under the Clyburn Bridge. John Clyburn was a stockyard owner in Chicago. In fact, his house was on a stockyard in Chicago. But he also had a lot of warehouses in the Milwaukee area. So here's a road named after him here. We're going under the I-794 freeway viaduct. Look at these big rooms on the side of the viaduct. Where are they passing? It doesn't, this is between the water level and these blue structural beams they have above us. So this is a fixed bridge. All of our lift bridges, like the St. Paul Avenue Bridge, straight headless, are designed to go up at least as high as the This fixed bridge, many of them, see this lift bridge in many of them is a tabletop bridge. Tabletop simply because there are more legs on the table and they're comfortable. Coming off of 100 St. Paul Avenue Bridge off the port side of the historic third ward. I'll talk quite a bit about that as we go back up the road. As we get down there, take a look off the starboard side, beyond the car wash, beyond the BP gas station, to a building which you see at the top. It says 1875 Pittsburgh. But you see there are really three buildings. The first one was the middle one. At one time there were 16 Pritzloff buildings. John Pritzloff was a hardware tycoon. He started out with a little real retail hardware store in Milwaukee, grew it to the Midwest's largest wholesale and manufacturing hardware company, employed up to 450 people at a time. And that's a real good example of Cream City brick. Anybody see the Milwaukee Bucks wearing uniforms that say Cream City on it?
Yeah.
Not because Wisconsin's a dairy state, but because of the color of that brick, which is unique to Milwaukee. When they mine the clay from the shorelines of the Menominee River, which we're approaching in Milwaukee, the clay was reddish in color, so when they baked it in the brickyards up the Menominee River Valley, they totally expected it to be reddish in color when it came out, but it came out that freaks or creek color. The chemist out and was high level of iron and sulfur, which made the process of the shot like that. And over off the starboard side, we have the Canadian National Union Pacific crossing the 1904 bobtail spring bridge. Take a look at the upper left-hand corner of that bridge. See the concrete colorways that allow it to swing easily upriver, up to the Menominee River, towards the Harley Davidson Museum, like some other locations in the Menominee River Valley. George Walker was the gentleman of Virginia. He came in 1835 without much money, without legislation. Wow, to really get this side of the city, the south side of the line. So even to this day, the lots are bigger on the south side, the density is less on the south side. Off the port side, you see a three-story brown brick building. That opened up in 1915 as Fire Station number 15. Had fireboats only, serviced the river. More recently, a developer purchased that property and converted it to condominiums. I don't know if they're Airbnbs or not. I'd have my chance to buy that, but I didn't have the money for it. Looking down the river, we see all this new residential development, basically from the year 2000 to the present. Most buildings are new, but not this building to our immediately to our left, the port side. That building opened up in 1920 as the Milwaukee Terminal Building. You could rent space there for maybe a paint studio or a dress baking shop or any other type of manufacturing shops. And it now is occupied by the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, which is Milwaukee's four-year college for the industrial arts, visual arts, graphic arts. There's a school of poetry there, there's a school of letters and science in there, so it's a heavily used building, and it's open 4 weekends a month during gallery weekends, so that people can come and look through the studios of the students and maybe buy some of their artwork. Going under the Broadway Baskerville Bridge, look at these bridge houses. They're functional, but they're not nearly as cool as the ones that are nearly 100 years old. This one in the Water Street Baskerville Bridge, which we just went under, dates back to the 1980s. So the industrial lift bridges are really the 40s and 50s, and then we went back to the gas fuel bridges. Off the port side is another old building. It doesn't look old. That building opened up in 1917 as the Marine Terminal Building. Similar uses as the Milwaukee Terminal Building, but retrofitted by an architect which has its offices on the first level to create the condominiums on the second, third, and fourth levels. The far right condominium at the penthouse there was listed last year at $1.6 million. It's got views to three sides. I don't know if they got 1.6, but that's what was listed for. the starboard side, over the trees, you'll see a building that says Wisconsin Cold Storage Company. That's what we call a ghost sign, kept there for posterity purposes, because that company has not been in business for many, many years. What that company did was they would cut out big blocks of ice from the river and the harbor back in winter, stored in that 2-foot thick insulated wall building. They're used in the summer in the beer brewing industry and meat packing industry. Even delivered to houses for their chef food. Modern refrigeration arrived. That's just off the port side, here's another really old bridge. 1915 Milwaukee River Trellis Bridge. You see how it pivots on a center axis to rails heading south towards Racine, Kenosha, Waukegan, and Chicago. And heading north was Milwaukee's lakefront train depot. Milwaukee had a really cool kind of neo-Gothic building that was on the lakefront. It's called the Northwestern Train Depot, unfortunately they took it down in the 60s. But in its heyday, 103 engines a day went across that bridge. Nothing much to point out at Hanson Storage, a more modern facility. I'm trying to see if Milwaukee's pirate ship is there. I don't see the pirate ship. Oh, the pirate dog. It's always my thinking, my lame pirate jokes. Like, what's a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet? R. They think it was R, but they're really quite fond of the C. What happened to Bluebeard the pirate when he fell into the Red Sea? What happened to Bluebeard the pirate when he fell into the Red Sea? He did not turn purple, he got maroon. And finally, why is pirating so addictive? Why is pirating so addictive? When you lose your first hand, you're hooked. Alright, enough of that. So if we were on this river in 1850, we would take a right, kind of towards behind where that top depot is. We'd be on a narrow river, maybe 100 feet wide, maybe 15 feet deep at most. We'd be heading another mile and a quarter to the south before we emptied into Lake Michigan. But in 1850, our mayor was Byron Gilman, Yankee from Connecticut, who came here in 1834. He was the mayor in 1855. Decided that for Milwaukee to become a national port, much less an international port, we needed to do something about our way into the city. This used to be a big dock that was a quarter-mile out from Clyburn Street. So between 1855 and 1860, this was dug out. This was dredged out, steam shovels on barges to create a inner harbor that's 1,000 feet wide here, 25 feet deep. And as we head out to the artificial mouth of Milwaukee River, it's down to about 500 feet, but still remains 25 feet deep. Both Great Lakes traders and then ocean-going vessels to come into Milwaukee Harbor. The dredging, we all accumulated off on the peninsula, what's now called Jones Island. It would have been a marshy peninsula off the starboard bow there. So that peninsula then, after this was all dredged out, became attractive to a group of immigrants from the northwest part of Poland called the Kashubs. And the Kashubs were fishing people because their homeland was on the Baltic Sea. So when they came here, they set up a beautiful community, which they had no legal right to because they were squatters, on Jones Island. And in their heyday, there was only 2,000 people living on Jones Island. They were fisher people. In their best years, they harvested about 2 million pounds of whitefish and perch a year. And the men also worked in the factories and breweries, and they'd go to work every morning with empty buckets. Fill those buckets with whatever kind of clean fill they could find, and bring them back to empty out their alcoholic cans down home to build up some place for their children to play. They did such a good job that they ended up being the subject of the conviction by the administration of Daniel Home. Daniel Home, as he was bridge above us, is named after. Daniel Home was mayor of Milwaukee from 1916 to 1940. He appeared on the cover of Times magazine for running clean government. Anybody heard that term before? Clearing rubber? He was one of the few socialist ways in seeing Milwaukee. Born in Waukesha, it was his administration that decided this would be Jones Island would be a good place for the city's water and sewage treatment plant. So over a period of about 25 years, 20 to 25 years, they evicted the city. We put up a fight. Put up a fight saying that we have adverse possession to this land, we squatted rights, we've done here, we've improved it, it should be ours. It was a hard fought. Many legal battles in court, but ultimately the state won over this. And the last person to be evicted was a guy by the name of Frederick. Fred was born on the island and died in the island. He had a little restaurant tavern on the island. Unfortunately, he was evicted in 1943 and died in 1944. What this tavern was is a little county park called the King Park. It's a postage stamp-sized park where descendants of the King still gather for a picnic every year. But that's about the much of that. This light off the port side, the pier head light, never a lighthouse. There was attendance and light in a house that was about 100 yards to the west of where the light is. That light opened in 1906 and was the same keeping to the harbor until 1926 when the breakwater light goes up together. So leaving the artificial mouth of Milwaukee River, heading out on the Lake Michigan along Milwaukee South Harbor. I take a look at the natural harbor up to the south of the Green Peninsula, jutting out. Look to the north to the Green Peninsula, jutting out. There's about 6 miles of green two peninsulas. Look to Milwaukee Harbor, one of the most natural on the Great Lakes. Off of the starboard bow in the distance, way out there in the distance, is the world's fastest catamaran-style ferry. You see it out there, carries 80 cars, many motorcycles, many bicycles go across from Milwaukee to the Steven. It takes them about 2.5 miles, 2.5 hours to get there. It's only going to take us about 8 hours to get there today. So hopefully it's not the fuel is sustainable. That's one of the things we're not allowed to use. It's bounded, the harbor's bounded by this thick concrete and stone barrier that you see up there. It's just called the Breakwater. Makes Milwaukee's port a national designated port of refuge. It's built a lot by the Army Corps of Engineers and local contractors. Stands for about 4 miles. It really protects the harbor from northeastern, southeastern. We don't have any of that today. Great Lakes have had their share of environmental issues dating back to the opening of the Erie Canal. When that opened, that allowed ocean-going fish like the sea lamprey and the alewife to get into the Great Lakes. The sea lamprey, which are used for catching the whales and sharks, attached to the thin skin of the ground trout and mango trout, really decimated their population. They're now kept in check by a chemical. The alewife are these storage fish, run around with schools. They're about 6 or 7 inches long. Really good at reproducing in the Great Lakes, but not so good at living. So if you have big change in weather, they might die off by the summer. And they wash up in the business and they wash up the Chicago trade and the food, particularly small records. So about in the 1960s, the governors and states and provinces got together and came up with a plan to introduce to the Pacific Northwest king and silver salmon, which we call Pacific profile. And they've done a great job of keeping the alewives from being more than just another foreign species in the lake. They're still here, alewives. They're kept in check by the sport fishing industry that is now they're trying to find $1 billion sport industry. We used to have $1 billion commercial fishing industry in Turks and Caicos. Things like fuel opened up in 1960, and that's how ocean-going investments in the gal space to get into the companies like gal space, the ocean things like the plate up and the diesel up and the straight line. Safe to say we're going over those oceans right now, and what they do is they siphon off all the not all, but much of the green solar plants and other green plant life that are able to survive in the plant. So they have a hard time surviving in other zones. Most persons, French American persons, including Chile. No solution yet. So they're having to. Off the port side is the Breakwater Lighthouse, opened up in 1926. From 1926 until 1966, there were 4 people that lived in that lighthouse, almost year round. The ticket season is typically about March to December. And the inside is quite elaborate, I've been told. It's kind of Art Deco style, California living space. But those walls are packaged with steel and tempered glass to withstand what has been measured as a wave more than halfway up in that building, about 25-foot wave. We have low waves today that 0 to 6 inches maybe, which is really unusual. Really unusual. Normally, some folks see the 1 to 2 feet waves, and I doubt even they're going to know 3 to 4 feet. It's beautiful out here today. Lake Michigan is the second largest in Great Lakes, right? What's the first largest? Lagoon. Are there any hydrologists on board? I asked their questions, but they might tell us that they're really big pictures of right here on one body of water. They're separated by the Strait of Mackinac, and they're the same level above sea level, about 600 feet above sea level. The body of the body of the First, what does the deepest lake in the continental United States not deepest lake in the continental United States not good guess, but not the Great Salt Lake. It is in the western part of the country, state of Oregon, but not Lake Tahoe. Crater Lake. Crater Lake's about 2,000 feet. What's the deepest lake in the world? Deepest lake in the world. Did you ever guess? Lake Baikal in Russia. 5,200 feet deep. So whereas the Great Lakes hold 20% of the world's precious surface freshwater resource, those lakes are called Russia. Okay. Enjoy this wonderful day out here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Feel free to walk downstairs and say hello to Rebecca. And if you do, the radio.